Going on, guys? It is Jake with ThunderMax and your boy Millhouse here. What is it? You're the patron saint of
speed.
That's your guy right there. We're fixing to do an install here on this 2021 Ultra Limited. Guys, this is our newest ECM that's coming out for the 21s and the 22 models. So just kind of stick around, watch how we do it. It's a really simple process. Alright guys, first thing we're going to do is get your seat off here. Always a little more difficult when there's a tour pack on. And then once you get that out of your way, we can start taking the bags and the side cover off. The only side that you should have to do that on is going to be the right side of the bike. You can pretty well leave the left side of the bike untouched, alright? Alright guys, we'll get this this right saddlebag off of here. Get it out of our way. And then you're also going to take off this right side cover here. Now that that's off, guys, we're just going to get the bike up in the air on this lift so that we can put in our O2 sensors. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install the O2 sensors that come in your kit. Guys, these are going to be wideband O2 sensors, so they are bigger than the factory narrowbands on the bike. But really, pretty much every exhaust manufacturer out there right now makes their exhaust with the larger 18mm O2 ports. If your aftermarket exhaust doesn't have the 18s, buy a different exhaust, or you can weld them in. The stock head pipe is going to use those factory 12s. So you'll want to make sure, like on this bike here, we actually have an aftermarket head pipe on this bike, so it's already going to have those bungs in there. So the first thing that you're going to do is pull the bung caps out, and then we're going to put in these wideband O2s. Alright guys, so when you're putting these O2 sensors in, generally on the head pipe that's on your bike, if it's aftermarket, it's going to have a little cap where the O2 sensors go. You're just going to remove that cap, and then you're just going to run your O2 sensors in. Just get them good and hand tight to start with. The O2 sensors are going to have NICs, and then they're also going to have like a little crush washer on them. So just get them good and hand tight. It's always super helpful to have a O2 socket on hand, and then just run it up through there. Get your socket on and just snug it up real quick. Generally doesn't take too much after you've got it hand tight. You just want to make sure you don't have any leaks or anything right there. So make sure it's good and tight, all right? Then after that's done, we're going to start running our wiring. So pretty simple.
Good and tight.
Good and tight. All right guys, first we're going to start with this rear one. I just simply took the connector, ran it back onto the other side of the bike here. Man, all you're really looking to do is just kind of tuck the wire in so that it's just not unsightly. You just want to make sure it kind of stays in place. I've really found that on the top of the transmission here is a perfect little spot to tuck that wire so that it kind of stays out of the way. And then I take the connector and just simply feed it up here into the caddy. And then for right now, we're just going to pull it through and just kind of leave it out because we'll have to run our harness in just a second. Alright guys, so let's talk about the front O2 sensor and how we're going to run those wires. I like to kind of run mine down. It's almost hard to see, especially with this bike having these lowers. I like to run mine down in front of the oil filter here and just drop it out through the bottom of the frame, bottom of the bike, okay? Once you've done that, just kind of leave it here for a second. We'll finish running our wiring and then we'll plug everything up, okay? All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're actually gonna run our O2 harness. This is a Y harness. It plugs directly into the ECM and then it plugs directly into both of those wideband O2 sensors. First thing that you'll notice is this wire is 2 different lengths. Obviously the front is marked front and it's the longest side, and then you've got the rear here that's marked rear and it's going to be the shortest side. That way you don't get them confused, okay? So what I like to do is take the little extruded end here and just feed it right up inside the frame here, next to the battery. Sometimes it takes a little wiggling to get it through, but once you've got it through, you just pull it on up into the ECM caddy. Alright then. Alright guys, so we got the O2 harness ran up through here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and probably remove the ECM, the factory ECM with this bike, and get that out of our way. And on the 21s, they've got a little latch that you've got to pull back. So once you get that pulled completely back, it'll just kind of unlock the ECM from the connector, okay? So now we'll get our ThunderMax. Millhouse here is putting that ECM in the saddlebag. Guys, always keep your stock ECM in your saddlebag if you have that availability there, just in case you're rolling down the road, you know, have some running issues. So you whip it to a Harley dealer, and maybe that Harley dealer doesn't mess with ThunderMax, or they haven't done a lot of them yet.
That way you hook it up to the digital tech.
Yeah, you can just hook it right up to digital tech with the stock ECM, and it won't be any issue, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is plug the ECM in. Guys, what I like to do is take a little dielectric grease. Something's going to come in your kit. We keep it by the big tube here, a little bit of horsepower jelly. I just wipe it just a little bit, guys, around this connector here and just a little inside the pins. And that's just going to make for an easier installation. And then I like to take just a little bit of it on my finger here and just wipe it inside of the factory harness here. And just hit it with just a little bit. Guys, it's just going to prevent corrosion or any of those other kind of funky things that you don't want going on. Go ahead and plug the ThunderMax ECM in. Guys, this is the same exact size and everything as the factory ECM, so you won't have any fitment issues there. Clip your lock back down, and that part's done. Next thing that you're going to want to do is plug in your O2 harness. Easiest way to know that you've got it right side going in is just the ThunderMax logo will be on top. They can be tight, so just, you know, force them in there a little bit, not too hard. You just want to get past that rubber. So that makes a really good seal, and then we're going to run both of those screws down until we get a little bit of squish right here, okay? All right, so that's good and tight. We'll go ahead and set our ECM back inside of the caddy here. And then once we get that put back in, we can finish kind of running all of our O2 wires and stuff. All right guys, I like to hook up my rear sensor first just because I'm already back here working. So what I'm going to do is from the harness side, I'm going to feed it back inside this frame here so that it kind of sticks out here. And you remember we already ran our rear O2 sensor inside of there too. So all we got to do is plug these two together. Guys, keep in mind, no dielectric grease inside of this connector. We don't want to interfere with any of the signals here on this O2 because they are a heated O2 sensor. It will make a clicking sound when you've got it in there right. So that's hooked up. Now we're going to run the front. And how we're going to do that is really simple. We're just going to drop it behind the exhaust. And then once we've got it through here, pull your wire loom down a little bit against your frame rail. Between the motor and transmission is a perfect spot to get this connector. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but you can feel it with your hands really easily, and it'll just push right through there. And once it's through, and we've already ran the front on the inside of the frame rail, we'll push those two together. They'll make a clicking noise. Now, something to keep in mind when you're working down here like this, you have two things that you want to kind of steer clear of. One is having your O2 sensor hang down too low on your frame rail. Guys, you're going to hit it, curbs, things like that. And then the other thing is you want to make sure that you stay away from this exhaust, okay? You don't want this wire laying up against the exhaust, getting burnt and arcing out and causing some damage somewhere. So what you do is just simply pull your wire down. What's really nice about these newer bikes is they actually have some clips here. And there's a dead spot inside these clips, and you can literally just put your O2 sensor wire directly in those clips. And then when you move to the front, you'll just use a little zip tie there, zip it to the factory wire loom. Make sure it's gonna stay up there good and tight, that it's not gonna fall down while you're riding or anything like that. And we'll do that here in just a second, and we'll get a couple of zip ties and we'll be good to go. All right guys, so I've got my O2 sensor connector tucked really nicely up in here on the other side of the frame. So then I'm just gonna pull my zip ties good and tight. Now that they're on there, I'll just give them a little snip, cut off the excess. And then get this one. And then we'll just button up this rear and we'll be good to go. Same deal here, guys. Just find a really good spot to get this connector in there. Make sure you zip tie it. You don't want it falling down or hanging on anything. These zip ties come in handy. They come in your kit, so use them accordingly to make sure everything's nice and buttoned up and out of the way and looks good. And now all we've got to do is kind of start putting the bike back together. We'll enter the bin, load a base map, and we'll go ride and let it do its thing. All right guys, so we buttoned it up. It was pretty simple. The whole install takes roughly about an hour. We entered the bin, we loaded the base map. The bike's ready to go now. So what we'll do is probably take it out, put some miles on it, let it auto-tune and kind of refine and finesse and build that map a little bit. But other than that, it's really that simple. All you've got to remember to do is, every time that you key cycle off, it's going to save those changes that you made during that riding session. So it's just going to continuously get better and better and better as you ride and kind of predict and adapt to your riding style and the fueling requirements that you need. So pretty simple install, guys. We appreciate you watching. Make sure you follow us on social media, on Facebook, ThunderMax EFI, on Instagram at ThunderMax EFI. Millhouse here, what's your handle?
At Millhouse_TMax.
Follow him on Instagram, guys, and you can kind of see where all we're going and we're going to be. Got Daytona Bike Week, Sturgis, we're doing camp outs, we're going to see dealers, so we're all over the US. Just reach out to us, give us a shout. If you have any questions, shoot us an email. Our email address is support@thunder-max.com. All right, y'all take it easy.
Peace.
High five.